this video, I'm going to explain how to work on this course project. This course project asking you to design a database for a city college. All this information we are very familiar with, like a course, classes, faculty, student, right? And it listed all this information, allow you to record. In other words, you need to maintain all these informations. But you have to properly design this table, and here listed the business rule, right? So whenever you have a database design assignment, you have to figure out what are the entities. In other words, what are the tables I need to create. Based on the introduction, we already see that. We already saw that. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least we have to have a 4 entity. They are course, class, faculty, and student. Usually we use a single word to describe the table name. And here on the business rule, we need to base on the business rule to establish the relationship among these tables. For instance, who and who are one-to-many relationship, who and who are many-to-many relationship. So we need to base on this rule to establish the connection. So in other words, in order to save you some time, I already listed the entities, the course, the class, the faculty, and the student, right? So before we put everything inside the parentheses, this is called shorthand notation. You see here, shorthand notation. Here, this is the shorthand notation, right? We already know that shorthand notation. This is entity name, and you use the parentheses to include all the column names, and you use underline word as to represent the key. So in this case, the course number is the key, right? The catalog number is the key for course. The same thing for, if I were you, I'm gonna underline this class number for class as a key, right? And if you want to bold it, you can bold it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we have a 4 entity. Then we have to, based on the business rule, to establish the connection. So I listed the method. How do I establish one-to-many relationship? Very simple. As long as you figure out who is one side, who is many side, you take the primary key from one side and put it in the many side. Then you finish it. For instance, the class and course, what are the relationship? We need to read the rule. The business rule listed here. A course can have many classes, and each class must associate with one course, which means it's one-to-many. One course can have many class sections. That make perfect sense, right? So one-to-many, who is one side? Course is one side. Who is many side? Classes is many side. So in other words, course is one side, class is many side. Based on this, you take the primary key from one side, put it in many side. In other words, you need to put catalog number as a foreign key to refer this class. What this class for which course? You base on this key to refer to another table. In other words, in your class table, you have to have a catalog number for that class. Let's go back to here, class number. You see here, for class, you have to have a class number, and listed, you have to have a class name. Usually, the course name, CIT170, the course name actually is course catalog number. So in other words, this catalog number or course name can establish the one-to-many relationship between class and course. Does that make sense? Now let's take a look at the student and class relationship. Student and class relationship. A student can take many classes, and each class can have many students, which means student and class is a many-to-many relationship. In other words, this guy and this guy is a many-to-many relationship. For many-to-many relationship, in order to establish the connection, we need to follow this rule. Many-to-many. Create a new bridge table. Take primary key from both sides and combine them together as a primary key. In other words, in order to establish the connection, the many-to-many connection between class and the student, you have to have something like this in row. I can call it in row, right? And you have to have a both number and student ID, right? Student ID. In other words, student ID is going to be student table's primary key, and the class number is class table's key. So in order to create a new bridge table, these two combined key is the primary key. Right? Then you better take all the information belongs to these two tables. For instance, on the description of the assignment, the student, like the grade for each course, it is not a good idea to put each course grade into a student table, because that will create it like a multiple redundant record. For instance, for each course you need to create a record in the student table. That's not a good idea. The idea solution is we need to take the grade and the GPA and the term and probably the class number to the new bridge table. In other words, the student enrolled, you have a class number, you have a student number, you have a student ID. Then you can put the grade for this class. You put it here, right? And the term here. And the class number already here. The class number, see, the class number of grade you got for that course. In other words, the class number already here. So that means this is a necessary column for this bridge table. You have class number, a student ID, and a grade and term. For student, then you don't need put the grade and the term information anymore. You only need to ID, which is a key, right? Which is a primary key. And first name, last name, plan, which is what track you're on, and sub plan, and each student only have one. Advisor, when we talk about advisor is a faculty, right? So this come to the time to think about what's the relationship between faculty and the student. Let's take a look at the business rule. A faculty can advise many students, and each student can only have one faculty advisor. That means they are one-to-many relationship, and one side is faculty, many side is student. Which means, based on this rule, take the primary key from one side and put it on many side. In other words, you need to take the faculty's ID, put it in the student side, not student enroll, on the student table. Put it here. Faculty ID as a foreign key, right? Employee ID is the primary key for this table, for faculty table, right? Then you need to put this one here. You have to take the key from faculty side, put it in the student side. I think that's that's all we need for student table, right? And if you don't like this employee ID, it is fine. It is perfectly fine. You can change this one to be advisor ID. In other words, this advisor ID equals to the faculty employee ID, but they may not require to be the same name. So this is one thing you have to pay attention. If you feel like I want them to have the same name, you can go ahead and do it, right? So this is the student table. In other words, for this information, the current GPA better put it into this in row. No, either side. You can put the current GPA into the student, because current GPA only have one value, so you can put it into a student table. That won't hurt anything. GPA, right? So in other words, all the grade for each course and the term for that grade and the class number for that grade, you move it to the bridge table, student enrolled. You don't need to maintain all this information into student table. That creates a lot of duplicate record, because for each course you take, if you take 25 course, you have the 25 record, duplicate record for in the student table. That's not good for design database, right? For database design, the student table, I only want a student ID, last name, first name, and advisor's plan. That's perfect. For their grade information, I better use the bridge table to maintain there. For this course, this student, for this course, it got A for 2018, for instance, right? The term. So for faculty table, you can put all this information listed here, so not big deal. And the class information, let's take a look. Any other information for all faculty can teach many classes, and each class can only have one instructor, which means it's a one-to-many relationship between faculty and class. So back to here, you have to guarantee the class and the faculty, we have a one-to-many relationship, and faculty is one side, which means I need to take primary key from one side, put it to many side. In other words, on the class table, I still need an instructor's ID or instructor name. You better use instructor ID. If we have two same name built in, so you cannot use the name to tell the difference, you better use instructor. And again, the instructor ID actually is the employee ID from faculty. They are not required to have the same name, but they are the same value. This instructor ID is the employee ID. Same thing like here, right? Like I mentioned on which table? When we're working on, when we're working on for student table, the advisor ID actually is the employee ID. And for instance, I do want to employee ID, put it here. You can put it, but instructor for the class is make more sense, right? So in other words, after you have this ID, you establish the one-to-many relationship between faculty and the class. I think that's all. You can complete all these columns based on whatever you need, whatever we listed here in the description, right? So this is the first part of the requirement. Use shorthand notation to describe the table, the structure of the table, right? This is very important. Then you can draw ER diagram. So after you have all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entities, you know how to draw the ER diagram. You use Visual 2013 or 16, right? We draw it many times in module 4 or 5, right? So you can draw the diagram. Then On the MySQL environment, you create an example of the table for student, not student enroll. For student, you create a table student have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on so column, right? Then you choose an example. For instance, you can choose your classmate's example, or you can choose yourself to do a create insert. Then select everything from student table, the select statement, which is we already talked about many times, right? In the module 7, the SQL. Everything from, right? That's the basic query to get everything. Select every record you entered for the example student table. This is the instruction for the first part, how to use shorthand notation to display the database design. Most important thing here, one is braid table, the student enroll braid table, right? This is to establish one-to-many many-to-many relationship, and a few one-to-many relationship. I hope you understand based on my explanation, and thank you for watching.